Okay, welcome back everybody to part 3 of making my personal mask. So here is from part 2 when I made this mask, and I ironed it, rolled those edges, and I took about almost 1/4 of an inch on each side, and I folded it in, and then I ironed it. That's where it's going to be closed up. Now the next thing we have to do is make straps. We're going to have a strap here, 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 and here, so a total of 4 straps. Okay, so there are different ways to make straps, and I'm going to use this black material that I have. One thing I want to point out again, we talked about the grain of the fabric. You got the vertical grain and you got the horizontal grain, and what you want to do is make sure that when you cut, you're going to use a vertical grain for strength. And if you go like this on the vertical, you can see it's very strong. If you go like this on the side, you can see there's some give to it. You see there's some give to it. Some fabrics it's really evident. This one not too bad, but this is definitely stronger on this top part here. Now there are different ways to make this. We used to use, you can use a bias tape maker if you have one, where you cut the fabric, you feed it through here, it comes out through here, and then you iron it as it comes out. I'll show you that in a minute. And then we had these things called tube turners. What you do is you cut your piece of fabric. On the sewing machine you sew a scant 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, which I've done here. And then this tube turner fits inside like this. Trust me, the hardest part of this is getting this falling wire off after you insert it. That's the hardest part. So you insert it up like this, and what you're going to do is you're going to, at the top, you're going to fold this over just a little bit to cover the top. You see that? Then you're going to take this hook and you twist it. It's going to poke a hole in the fabric. Take your time. Okay, you see how that came through? And then you're going to pull the fabric through. And this becomes your tube for your strap. Like I said, the hardest part is going to be getting this wire at the bottom off. You have to take your time. Don't pull, don't rip, just have to manipulate it. Which, of course, on camera it's going to give me a trouble. So I'll have to do that off camera. You know, they say it never goes wrong until you're on camera. But I did tell you it could be difficult, so you're just going to twist and manipulate here. Let me see if I can get it here. Twist and manipulate it to get it off of that curly Q wire there. This one is really strong. This one is really strong. I'll mess with this later. I don't want to take up precious time here. But anyway, and then which I already did earlier when I did this, is you iron this flat then. And then what you'll do is you'll take one of the ends, make sure it's cleaned up. You go and you clean that end up. And then you fold it over once, just a little, fold it over, fold over twice, and then just do a zigzag stitch so it stays folded and your ends are clean. Okay, that's one way of doing this. The other way of doing it again is that bias tape maker. And if you don't have a bias tape maker, I'll show you another way to do it right now. Let's go over to the ironing board. One more thing before we go to the ironing board I want to point out. If you don't have a tube turner, by the way, I got the wire out. I was able to get the wire out. If you don't have a tube turner like this, you know, I bought this pipe at a hobby shop a long time ago. You find these pipes. What you do is you're going to fold over your fabric, and then you add a seam allowance to get your circumference. Sew the seam allowance, and then what you'll do is you will stuff your fabric in here, and you can use a pair of chopsticks like this. So you put your fabric on the tube like I did the other one, and you stuff it down with the chopsticks, and then I'll push it all the way down to the end, then pull it out and you got your tube. Alright, that was the other thing I want to show you. Okay, now let's go over to the ironing board. Okay, so here's your bias tape maker. Now normally you would cut this fabric, your strips of fabric, on a bias. But I didn't cut on a bias, I cut on the straight of grain. Then what you're going to do is to feed the fabric through, cut the fabric the width of what accordingly to the size bias tape maker that you're making. And then just to get it started, you take a pin and you feed the fabric through like that. as the fabric comes through, let me back this up, as the fabric comes through, this is where you're going to iron it. Okay? And make sure you got your steam on. And as it pulls out, you keep following it, ironing it more. And you just slide it back. And before you know it, you have it, the two ends are folded. Okay? I'm not going to do it all right now for you, but that you can see how this started. And then you take these two ends and you match them like this, fold them over, and then you iron, and then you have your strip. Now what you can do at this point is you can clean up the edge here. You clean up the edge right here, and then you can fold this over at the end, and you can iron it and then fold it over this way, and it's nice and ironed, and then you've got your end finished, and then you stick the other end in. Now if you don't have the bias tape maker and you don't have the tube, here's the last option. This is a 2.5 width of fabric, and what I did was I folded it in half. After I folded it in half, I ironed it, and then after I ironed it all the way down, I opened it up, and then I took each side and folded it to the middle. Folded each side to the middle crease, and then I ironed that. Then after I ironed that, we could take this here and fold this in. You'll want to manipulate this. I'm going to do it better off camera. And then you fold this over to match the ends, and then you iron that, and you have your strap. And that's how simple it is to make a strap. And you can make your straps as wide as you want. It's up to you. You know, I don't think you need anything wider than this. And this was a what did I say, 2.5 inch? Let me look here. This was, this one was about 2.25 inch. So, yeah, you just want to make your straps as wide as you want, but that's pretty wide right there, and that's good. It's got strength. Can you hear that? Hear it? It's got good strength. It's not on a bias, so it's not going to stretch out. And now we're going to insert these into the mask. Okay, so now it's time to sew the strips. Now, many of you may have what's called a blind hem foot in your sewing kits that came with your machine. It has this bar, and it's able to move back and forth. If you have a foot like this, this is great, because what we're going to do is we're going to butt the fabric right up against there to edge stitch along this. So I'm going to put that in here. I've already preset this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the camera in front so you can see how I do this. Okay, here we go. So this is very fine fabric, and because of the foot I'm using and I want to get this edge stitched, I'm not going to start around the edge there. What I have to do is, if I want to start on the edge here, I need to get a security blanket first. Now, what is a security blanket? A security blanket would be something that you sew on, like another piece of fabric, as like a starter. You want to do like a starter. So let's just start it out on here. Okay, and then I'll get this in there, and this will prevent it from bunching up and getting stuck inside the throat plate. Now I can't see too well because I've got this camera in front of me, but you'll get the whole idea here. I think I might have messed up in the beginning and went kind of crooked on me, but I'll fix that. Okay, one more. Then pivot. And then come on down. Now, you might have to use some kind of a contraption or something to help move it along. Some people, when they're quilting, they use little pointers. I've got a pair of tweezers here I'm going to use to help edge it through. See? Gotta make sure it's even. If the camera wasn't in the way, I wouldn't have a problem. Okay, now I'm going to back stitch and cut my threads. Okay, so now that strap is sewn, and we just cut this off here. And yeah, I did have a little problem there. I'll go back and fix that. Let me show you how I'll fix that. I mean, it's fine. It's not going to come apart because it caught the fabric. It caught it, as you can. I don't know if you can see here. See if I can get. See, it did catch it, but it wasn't even because I couldn't see too well and hold my hands on that as I was sewing. But it's okay. It made it through. It's okay. I just need to get rid of all this extra thread here. And then this is your strap. So this end here that wasn't cut, that wasn't folded over, this is going to go inside the mask. This end here, this is the folded over one, and this is going to be the outside. Okay. All right. So now let me finish these up, and then I'm going to insert them and show you how to sew them. Okay. Now next is to insert each strap into the opening and pin it. Okay. And then you want to measure to make sure they're even at the end. So now I'm going to take this, and you want to make sure that you've got your fabric even on both sides. So pin that in place and make sure it's even on both sides. There's a lot of layers here too, and some pins might not be sharp enough to go through them all. So like I got some pins here that they don't seem to be sharp enough to go through all these layers that I have here, but yeah, there we go. Just have to manipulate it. And then I'm going to sew these right on the edge. Right on the edge. I don't know if I can get close enough for you guys to see that. Alright. So first thing I'm going to do is check to see if that's going to make it. I don't think I want that. Alright. That looks like it's going to be good. So I'm going to go back and then come forward and pull the pin out. Let's see how I did. Good. I got it all. Now I'm going to trim threads off. And there you can see how it's sewn in. Here's the other side. Hope you can see that pretty good. Okay. And I'll do the same thing to the other side now. Okay, there she is. She's all done. Mask is all done. It's got the ties. Put it on and have some protection wherever you go. Okay, hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Hope it helped you. This is my very first mask. And yeah, you know, find the presser feet that'll work for you on your sewing machine. Do whatever you can to make it work, you know, and just relax and enjoy it and learn from my mistakes along the way here. And you could see what I was talking about when I did that wire in there. You could see it protruding through the front here. I would have done it in the back next time. And a couple other things I would have changed, but you know, when you sew, you learn different things you're going to improve on along the way. So enjoy your mask. Stay safe, everybody, please. And take care. Talk to you soon. Bye.